What's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you some of my top tips for saving money when you're on a road trip. So if you're road tripping on a budget, this is the video for you. It's packed with simple tips that I use all of the time when I'm traveling. So let's dive right into tip number 1. Tip number 1 is to bring your own reusable water bottle and potentially even a water jug. If you're going on really long trips and driving through really remote areas, it's not a bad idea to have a water jug. But the reusable water bottle is awesome because you want to stay hydrated, but you can also fill this up at gas stations. Typically gear shops have drinking water, picnic areas and campgrounds also have drinking water sometimes. So there's lots of places where you can fill up your water bottle on the go and save yourself some money from buying those plastic water bottles at the gas station constantly throughout your trip. And so this is the water jug that I have. It's just super easy. You know, when you pull over for a little break, you can stop and just refill your water and save yourself lots of money. Obviously, when you're filling up water on the go, make sure that you're getting water that's for drinking and not some gross, nasty water somewhere else. So yeah, just double check you're always getting drinking water. My next tip is to pack your own snacks and bring a lot of them and bring a good variety. Snacks are always more expensive, it seems, in the gas station stores. And so I like to pack them, buy them at the grocery store. They're a lot cheaper. I usually bring peanut butter pretzels, apples, carrots, and hummus if I have a cooler. So that's a great snack just to kind of change things up if you have a cooler in the car. I also bring string cheese if I have a cooler and some seltzer water, just things to kind of keep it interesting as we're driving. I also love trail mix and apples. Here I have a bunch of protein bars. So we're kind of on the last leg of a long road trip. We have just a couple more hours to go. And so this is all we have left for snacks. But just bringing your own, thinking ahead to some of the things that you would want on the way will save you some money. In addition to snacks, I also like to pack some breakfast things. So instant oatmeal is a great breakfast on the go. You can get hot water from the gas stations and then just mix it all up in the car and you have a really simple breakfast. Another idea is to bring yogurt in the cooler, just little individual yogurt cups, and you can bring some granola and that's a really quick breakfast or a snack. So just thinking ahead to some of the snacks and foods that you're going to want on the drive will help save you money so that you're not impulsively buying the expensive snacks at the gas station. Next tip is to get the best gas prices. So there are tons of apps that you can use to help you find the best gas prices. Some of them even have rewards and cashback and stuff like that. I've never gotten too into using the apps. In general, I try to fill up my gas in cities and towns as opposed to really remote areas. We've all seen those gas stations that are at the top of a mountain and it's way, way more expensive than just 10 miles, further down the road. So I try to avoid using those really remote gas stations when I can. And then other ways to kind of improve your gas mileage would be to make sure your tires are inflated and try to avoid putting your clothing and gear and stuff like that on the top of your car. Try to get everything in the car so that you're not creating more wind resistance. Nick actually, when he had no money and was living out of his truck, he had a wind app and would actually plan his cross-country driving when there was a tailwind, which sounds insane. It's kind of hilarious to me, like imagining him sitting out of his car, like waiting for a tailwind to drive. But having a good tailwind will definitely save you some gas money. So I guess if you want to go to that level, that's an option as well. The next tip is all about coffee. So at that gas station we were just at, I went inside and I filled up my coffee mug with hot water. I've never paid for hot water when I'm using my own mug. Sometimes they charge you if you use a cup of theirs, but yeah, free hot water. And then I have a little wobbly there. I have some instant coffee and boom, I have a cup of coffee here for pennies, compared to stopping constantly and buying coffee. We'll stop for coffee every once in a while as a treat, maybe if we want a latte or something, but in general, I try to do instant coffee on road trips, or if we're camping along the road trip, then I make coffee with the pour over. Coffee gets so expensive. I mean, if you're like me and you drink it a couple cups every single day, that cost really adds up. So this is a really low cost way to get your caffeine fix. I recently just uploaded a video where I did a blind taste test of a bunch of different instant coffees. So I'll link to that in the description below if you want to know what my favorite instant coffee is. Hot. Let's go. Tip number 5 is to camp along your road trip instead of staying in hotels. And this is probably going to be the biggest way for you to save money. If you think like on a 7-day road trip, even if you camp just half the time, you're saving hundreds of dollars, assuming that a hotel is around $100. So this is actually kind of how I got into camping. So if you've seen my other videos, you know my entire channel is like built up around camping. And I really started camping because I wanted to travel, but I didn't have the money to stay in hotels. And camping now has become like an activity itself, but it's also a great way to save money on road trips, and you get to stay in a billion-star hotel. You get it? If you have some basic camping gear, it's really simple to go camping along your road trip. Campgrounds range from free to like $20 or $30. So there's a lot of options when it comes to camping. And if you're new to camping, this is the channel for you. I have so many resources when it comes to camping gear, camping meals, tips, tricks, all the things to make it really simple and fun. So make sure to check out some of those videos in the description below. But yeah, camping, definitely a good way to save some money. Tip number 6 is to plan ahead so that you can avoid the costs associated with unexpected detours and hotels. So what I mean by plan ahead is check for road closures, for example, especially if you're traveling in the winter, in the spring. A lot of roads tend to be closed. And so if you get there and you don't realize that, well, then you gotta take a whole detour around, adding time and gas money to your entire trip. In addition, if you do want to camp, like we talked about in the last tip, try to plan out the areas that you want to camp so that you can get reservations if needed, so you're not rolling up to a place and trying to scramble to find a campsite that might not even be available. So just doing some of that planning ahead will help you avoid those costs associated with detours and that kind of stuff. Tip number 7 is to pack when you are relaxed. I've talked about this in other videos. What I mean is don't frantically try to throw everything in the car minutes before you want it to be on the road. Really take your time to make sure that you have everything, do a double check that you didn't forget anything. And the point of this is to avoid those costs that are associated with having to rebuy things that you forgot at home. For example, I have learned this the hard way. Nick and I went out camping and we forgot sleeping bags, like an essential thing. And I thought he packed it, he thought I packed it. We were kind of rushing out the door and I didn't do a good final check. We had to then go drive somewhere, so spend gas money to buy a new sleeping bag. I had to spend $50 on a sleeping bag that we did not need because we have tons of sleeping bags. So if you kind of pack when you're relaxed and not trying to get out the door, then you'll kind of avoid these unexpected costs associated with forgetting things. And on that note, that is it for my tips on how to save money on your road trip. So if you're road tripping on a budget, hopefully these tips are helpful. Like I said in the beginning, they're very simple, but they're things that I actually use all the time, and the savings really do add up over the years if you're doing lots of road trips. So I'd love to know in the comments below, what are some of your additional money saving tips for road trips? And make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss a video, and I'll see you in the next one.